British Britishness came to town on April the 19th in more ways than one. Lewis Hamilton won the Bahrain Grand Prix, while other elements of the finest British engineering and innovation was on display at the Ritz Carlton Hotel Bahrain. His Excellency Ian Lindsay OBE, the British Ambassador, opened the event, accompanied by the Bahrain Economic Development Board's Chief Executive, Khalid Al Rumayhi. Up front and centre, lacking no pizzazz, the Great British Advanced Engineering and Innovation event unveiled two new supercars, 0 to 100 kilometres per hour in 3 seconds, or just a tad over, the McClaren 570S and the 675 LT, two majestic examples of British engineering at its slickest. Darren Goddard, Head of Vehicle Engineering at McClaren Automotive, gave a presentation at the adjoining conference, along with Jason Sutcliffe, Marketing Director for Rolls-Royce Aero. Rolls-Royce's presence could not have been more appropriate, where only a day or two before, one of their biggest orders was announced, that being the powering of Emirates' future Airbus A380s. Maureen McHugh, who is Head of Research and Technology with BAe Systems, presented details of the company's latest venture into the future, with a control system which uses only eyesight. Another first, Mark Kipling, Overseas Director for the International Division of National Express, also took part in the conference. Mark has just moved to Bahrain to take care of the recent agreement to run the bus public transport system. Well, you've seen a lot of new red buses running around Bahrain just recently. There's been a whole change, there's new routes, there's everything else going on. National Express UK, Mark Kipling, he's the Operational Director, and he's here to tell us a little bit more about it. Mark, you've just arrived here really, haven't you?
So we've been operating for a few months now, rolling out the new public transport network under contract to the Ministry of Transportation. We're delighted to be here supporting this event today, but also supporting Bahrain by rolling out a public transport network fit for the 21st century.
Okay, you don't actually do buses, physical, hard, machines, but you do manage the whole thing, don't you?
Yeah, so we don't construct them. This is one that's been constructed in Leeds, as it happens, but we run the whole operation. So we supply the drivers, the maintenance, all of the management expertise for the whole network. So we don't actually make them here, but we make them in Europe, and we bring them here, and we operate them for we will be operating for the next 10 years.
Well, Bahrain's a different, it's a small place. Did you have to do a study to work out what the strategy you were going to...
Absolutely, and one thing we have done is change a lot of things very, very quickly. So from having no real structured public transport, overnight almost, we had brand new buses, new routes, new network, new ticketing systems. So a lot has changed. So what we're about at this point in time is listening to our customers, seeing what we can do better, changing things where we need to change them, but listening.
Well, what about comfort? Do you listen to people when they say, buses are a bit rough and ready?
Well, I hope no one would find this rough and ready. Obviously, the big priority is the air conditioning systems, which is why all of our vehicles have got the highest powered air conditioning systems that it is possible to actually fit to a bus, which means that whether it's November or July, the environment on board one of the vehicles will be exactly the same, which will be 21 degrees.
State-of-the-art buses, they've got cameras and everything?
They have cameras, yeah, and we're in the middle of rolling out a smart card ticketing system, the same as you will see in London, an Oyster-style system. The vehicles have all the highest safety standards, the lowest emissions, and of course the most powerful air conditioning.
Okay, well this is one of the smaller buses here now.
Yes.
You're looking at, but we've got the bigger ones. What about double deckers? No recommendation?
I really hope one day there will be double deckers here. I really hope so.
So your personal view is there's a need for
there absolutely is an opportunity to bring double deckers here on the busiest routes. Absolutely. At the moment we're starting small, but we're hoping to bring them here soon.
So Mark, we've seen new routes. We've got more new routes coming.
Yeah, so one of the things we were delighted to launch on the 1st of April was a direct route between the airport, Manama and Isa Town, which means that people who arrive at the airport at last have an option other than a taxi to get around. So that's every 50 minutes there's buses running from the airport. As well as that, we're connecting up all the main population areas. So there's circular routes around Muharraq. There are buses every 7 minutes down Palace Avenue. So what this project is about is really expanding access to public transport by having more buses and having them more frequently across the island.
Yeah, across the island. Durat in the south. I'm in Amwaj.
Not quite. Two places we're yet to get to is Durat and Amwaj. Hopefully in the future we'll be running buses there. But for the main population centres, Manama, Muharraq, Isa Town, there are more buses running more frequently.
You've got more buses. Are there more coming?
Yes, there are more coming. So we currently have around 70 here operating, and there are another 70 to come. So we have, in the end, we'll have 141 buses operating, comparing to 36 or 37 buses prior to us coming in. So you will not be able to move for buses. There'll be buses everywhere.
Mark Kipling, Operations Director, National Express. Thank you very much indeed, Mark.
Thank you.
Household names were very evident at the event, which included JCB. Always ahead of the game, as mentioned, on display the first demonstration simulator from BAe Systems, the fly-by-eye or eye-tracking control panel. So as you can see, we're on the BAe Systems stand here, and they have a new product, possibly coming very soon. First of all, I'm going to talk to Jana, who's an engineer with BAe Systems, and as you can see, an old hand for the old television here, Steve Reardon, he's going to be demonstrating the actual device. Jana, could you explain a little bit about this, please?
This is eye tracking technology. This basically picks up the movements of the eye and shows on the screen where you're looking. So what we can do is use it as a cursor movement. So Steve, if you want to have a look at the screen and move your eyes to the different formats, and then you can see that it's actually picking up where you're looking. So if you think about when you're on your home computer and you're interested in part of a screen, what you have to do is look at that part of the screen, then pick your mouse and move the cursor to that part of the screen. Where here, all you need to do is just look at that part of the screen and press the push button, and it will change the format to that screen that you're interested in. So at BAe Systems, we're trying to look at new ways of interacting with the screen, intuitive ways to reduce workload and increase the situational awareness for the pilot. We're researching new technologies such as eye tracker as well. So as you can see, it's quite intuitive to use. It works quite quickly as well. There's 3 applications. You can use it as a cursor movement, intelligent filtering. So for example, Steve, if you want to look out over here, outside the cockpit, you can see that it changes onto the runway. So you can say, hey, what's that outside the cockpit? Click on it and it'll bring up what it is. Another application for this could also be to detect tiredness. So it can look at the frequency that you blink, also the size of your pupil to detect how tired you are.
Where are the sensors for this?
Just over here, just down there.
Those things along the bottom,
yeah.
They're watching his eye movement all the time, are they?
Yeah, there's infrared sensors, and they're picking up where his eyes are moving.
Infrared?
Yes.
How sensitive is this? Obviously it has to be incredibly sensitive, doesn't it?
Yeah, I suppose so. It depends on your eye size, the pupil size, and the lighting in the room as well. There's several factors that affect it.
And this is not necessarily for aeronautics, it could be for anything, this project, couldn't it?
Yeah, you could use it in several different industries. You could use it in the automotive industry. So for example, if you're in your car and you want to tune the radio, if you're looking down at the radio dial for too long, it can say, hey, you're not looking at the road, there's something coming up. Or if you're looking on the road and you've not perceived a hazard, a potential hazard, it can say, hey, look, over there, I've seen you've not looked over there yet.
All right, so let's look at it. BAe Systems. You're known for fighter aircraft and so on, and the systems within. So Steve's sitting there now, he's pointing, he's looking at a firing thing. What happens? He points and looks. How does he say fire then?
He would use this button over here to activate it.
But you are actually looking at your target and you engage by your eye, and then you decide to fire, for example, would it be, yeah?
Yeah, so you would look at it and say, hey, I'm interested in that target, and then you'd click the button and it would bring that target up or activate. You might want to bring a boat up or whatever you want to do with that target. You would use your eyes to actively to navigate, basically.
So how far away in the distance is it before we see this thing as a practical machine that we can use?
So at the moment we're just doing the early research phases of this technology. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to see what benefit it provides. So we're getting lots of test pilots down to actually come and play with it and have a look and do lots of assessments where we're building up the complexity to see what benefit this provides in the cockpit environment. And we also need to consider additional factors such as vibration, G, those types of things.
Are you very excited about this?
Yeah, this is a great device. Everyone's excited about it.
Make some money for Britain. Thank you very much indeed.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
The Formula One for Schools project was also on display, with pupils from St Christopher School displaying their miniature F1 cars. All in all, a very British contingent showing some of the best of British innovation, along with members of the Bahrain British Business Forum and Scottish brand Sepra. This is Geg Hopkins for Who Does What TV at the Great British Advanced Engineering and Innovation event, Bahrain.